So director J.J. Abrams returns us to that galaxy far, far away and gives us a film that is very strong with the Force, with Star Wars: The Force Awakens. "30 years after the Battle of Endor, the First Order has taken out the mantle of the Galactic Empire, with the intent of crushing the champions of freedom in the galaxy. As the renegade stormtrooper Finn races to escape their tyranny, he joins up with a wayward scavenger named Rey as they attempt to seek out the leaders of the Resistance while making new friends along the way. With the galaxy in turmoil and the Force weighted down by the dark side, hope may awaken from unlikely places to save them all." So it has been 3 long years since we got the announcement that we would be getting brand new Star Wars films in the form of a sequel trilogy and a number of spin-off films, and especially when we had the announcement that J.J. Abrams was going to be the director of Episode 7, had a little bit of trepidation for myself because even though I very much enjoy Mission Impossible 3 as a very entertaining film with not a whole lot of story to talk about, definitely had some issues with his Star Trek movies. But it seems completely obvious to me that when J.J. Abrams steps into the universe of Star Wars, he does it with immense respect because I'm doing this review after having seen the film twice already within 24 hours, so you can tell that I very much enjoyed The Force Awakens, and for many, many reasons, because this does feel so much like an extension of the original trilogy with the tone of it, the story, the characters, the depth of everything. Everything that's put forth in this film has that great steady hand and that great attention to detail with the characters and just making an emotional story overall. And J.J. Abrams' direction in The Force Awakens really does take on that much more steady hand, that it really did look at a lot of different types of things going into the film to really kind of emulate that style, that feeling of Star Wars. Not a lot of shaky cam type of modern filmmaking stuff. He really kind of went ahead and made things a little bit more graceful, a little bit more elegant here and there. Just kind of let things play out with a little bit more of that steady stillness and everything, which I thought was a very good way to go with this thing. That everything that he did with the direction of this film was pretty solid, even though there's a few little things here and there that is not a perfect film. There is a lot of humor in this film, and the tone of it really is very much heavy on A New Hope with a little bit of touch of Empire Strikes Back in there. There is a little bit of a dark undercurrent with the character of Kylo Ren that really kind of give it a little bit more of that tense type of feel overall with the film, but there is so much fun and adventure in this film that some of the humor might seem a little too much, but it's like the tone and style of the humor is exactly how you had it in the original trilogy. Just would have been nice to kind of maybe focus it in the right directions here and there to not have it so much, but the fact of the matter is that all the humor just had me laughing so much. I had such an immense smile on my face watching this film. Even the second time around this morning, I was just so much on cloud nine with this thing. I was just so much enjoying what they did with all the adventure, all the action, everything that went on with this film, even though there are like a few flaws with the film, but I'm going to get to that a little bit later on when I talk little minor things with the story and everything and stuff like that. Don't worry, don't get scared about spoilers. It's going to be very vague and measured with what I have to say here, but the fact of the matter is, like I said, characters with this film, because Star Wars was built on the strength of good quality characters that really kind of captured your heart and endeared you towards them and really kind of captured a magic that you didn't have in cinema back in 1977. And the fact of the matter is, again, we have some fantastic characters introduced into this film, portrayed by excellent actors, because first off, you got John Boyega in this film as the character of Finn, who was a stormtrooper and has a crisis of conscience in the film, and really becomes a fantastic, charismatic hero. I thought Boyega just added so much to this film to really make it such a fun, thrilling adventure, too. He's got so much great wit with his character and so much heart, too, that, again, that is one of the things of this film, just has so much heart to it, and all these characters really bring that forward. But Boyega's performance in this film is just absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved what this character brought to the film. Just brought a different dynamic, an interesting arc as well, that you just have this character in this thing that, again, has a crisis of conscience, that gets to go on a different journey for himself and find out exactly where he belongs in this universe. And fantastic work by Daisy Ridley as the character of Rey here, that this is sort of the Luke Skywalker allegory back to A New Hope here, that she is this sort of wayward type of soul in a certain way, kind of like a very different, distinct type of character apart from Luke Skywalker was in Episode 4, but the fact of the matter is her character here has also a hero's journey to go on, that she has a sense of discovery about her, a certain sense of sorrow too. There is certain aspects of her character that are very, very interesting, and this film does lay a couple of very intriguing seeds throughout its storyline to really have it pick up with the later films. And Daisy really just added, again, a depth of emotion and substance with this character. It just creates such a great character that you just connect with so much as you go along in this film, and things develop with these characters so much. I absolutely loved her character and what she brought overall with her performance here. And I absolutely loved Oscar Isaac as the character of Poe Dameron, one of the elite fighter pilots of the Resistance here. I love Oscar Isaac between Drive and Ex Machina. This guy is absolutely one of the most fantastic actors working today. So versatile, and he just fits so perfectly with that original trilogy type of feel and vibe and everything. He just has that lived-in type of character. He feels like he's been here for so long that we should have known him already, but just a fantastic character. He brings so much energy, so much sense of cool, too. This is just a character that just kind of lays back, and he feels so on top of things, just feels so perfect in this thing, just like it's a perfect character for Star Wars. I absolutely loved every second that I spent with this character in the film, and one of our main villains of the film is portrayed by the fantastic Adam Driver here as the character of Kylo Ren, who is a very distinct character as well, that this is a very intense type of dark character in the film that has so much of a complexity to him. You can just see there is a rage, there's intensity with this character, like I said, that just, you've not seen something like this in a Star Wars film up to this point. This kind of character that's so unhinged and just so completely filled with a terrible sort of troubling conflict within him, that just like, it's just so much externalized in this film. And just, again, depth with these characters. There's a dimension to the emotionality of all these characters that we get brand new in this film. There's just so much of fantastic magic there that you just feel like there's just so much lush, fertile ground to explore with so many of these characters, and just makes you so excited to see where they're going to progress with the following films of this sequel trilogy. You get so many fantastic actors here embodying brand new, fresh characters that just feel perfectly Star Wars. But of course, we have some returning cast members from the original trilogy. And like living hell, Harrison Ford is Han Solo here, that between the writing of the character and his performance, this is exactly the character. This is not an emulation. This is not an approximation. This is exactly Han Solo 30 years later, with all the exact same charm, the wit, the heart of the character, every single thing. The character lives and breathes through Harrison Ford's performance here, that I was just so impressed that the characters that you got back from the original trilogy just felt so much exactly like we left them before, with an extra couple decades of history behind them, but just like everyone just embodies these characters. You just feel the spirit soar with these characters. It just feels the embodiment of the magic of Star Wars is within these characters, and they bring it with every single fiber that they have. Not a beat miss, not a moment that is wasted. Every single moment you get with these characters is so absolutely fantastic, and they portray them so perfectly from what you remember and absolutely loved from all this time. And again, with a meshing of new and old characters, we get our fantastic additions with the droids in this film, with
this cute little BB-8 character, just like he has that great sort of innocent, sort of spunky kind of quality. It's a little bit R2-D2, but still has, again, its own distinct personality to it that just felt so attached to this character. Just brought so much of a cute, fun type of feel, and just great when you see 3PO and R2 show up in the film. Just has that great heart, that great feeling. Did you feel these are exactly the characters that you've absolutely loved and absolutely want to see in this film? Every single moment that they have is actually hit perfectly and just absolutely fantastic. All the characters in this film just have so much depth. They have so much emotion. There's just so much fertile ground, like I said, to have them expand and just explore them. And just like, it's great that, without any spoilers here, you do get Harrison Ford having a little bit of a character arc, something more deep and substantive than he had. Like in Return of the Jedi, like I said in my review of that, he didn't have a whole lot really to dig himself into with this film. With The Force Awakens here, though, he really does have a lot more depth, a lot more substance, a lot more things to deal with. There's absolutely fantastic, wonderful type of stuff that he just has to do in this film. I thought everyone in the cast was absolutely on the top levels of everything. Fantastic characters, written so well, directed so well, and performed excellently. And of course, the action of The Force Awakens is absolutely spectacular because they use the right tools for the right jobs for the effects work in this film between what needed to be practical and what needed to be visual effects. It absolutely came together in such a fantastic package to create so much thrilling, stunning, tension-filled type of action that every time there was an action sequence in the film, I just got tensed up in the fantastic best way possible. I just enjoyed everything that they did with all the dogfights with the fighters and all the different physical type of combat that they have. Everything in this film just built on top of one another to really create some very thrilling and fantastic classic Star Wars action. And the visual effects are just spectacular in so many different ways that just some of the early trailers kind of wasn't entirely certain about some of the CGI, but the final versions you have in the film really are just excellent. Just like I didn't question for a second. Nothing really seemed too much off in terms of like the combat scenes or the spaceships or something like that. But we do get two CGI creation characters in the film where they do kind of stand out a little bit next to all the very practical type of people in suits and everything and that type of thing with animatronics and different costumes, different prosthetics, everything. Two CGI characters that we get in the film really do kind of they're not bad characters, but the fact that they're all CGI does kind of stand out a little bit. And certainly one of the characters, which is one of the more threatening characters in the film, not entirely certain why they had to make it a CGI motion capture creation. I'm certain they could have put prosthetics on an actor to get the exact same effect. So that's kind of a question of why they did that in this film, but it's just the fact it is the best quality CGI that they could have for these types of characters. So still very good marks about that, but still could have used, in my opinion, probably could have still used someone in prosthetics and makeup to create the exact same effect if you really wanted to go that way. But the fact of the matter is the visual effects are very high quality in the film and really do just immerse you in the entire film. Nothing ever really pulls you out so much. I think they did a fantastic job really getting all these effects on the top level they possibly could. And we get some fantastic John Williams music that, thankfully, I was a little too tired to actually shoot the review last night after I watched the film on premiere night. So this morning I went out and bought these John Williams soundtrack CD and listened to a little bit of it coming and going from the theater this morning. Fantastic type of work that we really just get to sit down and listen to the tracks. Really do just burst with a certain fresh type of life too, that there is the familiar Star Wars themes and certain things that just stir up so many fantastic emotions. I just got choked up in certain moments in this film when certain themes came in. They were very familiar and they came at the right moments in time to accentuate the emotion of the moment and the story and everything. Fantastic type of work. Just like twice seeing it, the moments still got me. They still choked me up because the music was so fantastic and so many different things were so executed very, very well in the film that if the story was faltering a little bit and the emotion of the music was very good, I don't know if it really would have balanced itself out to be that good. But because the story is so good in my opinion, and the characters are so well developed, and the moments come up at the right moments in time to build it up with so much great dramatic storytelling. The John Williams music absolutely hits it off on the fantastic levels that you always really wanted to, and just like fantastic stuff with John Williams music in this film yet again. And talking a little bit about the story here, nothing spoilery, very measured type of discussion here, but there are certain things that are definitely allegories back to A New Hope with some of the story elements that, like I said in the Return of the Jedi review, like, didn't really have a problem with them bringing back the Death Star in that film as long as the element of it in the inclusion of the plot was executed very well. And some of the stuff in the film here, Force Awakens, is pretty damn well executed. It's like, I still notice these things as certain allegories, having heard a few people mention that there were certain things like that in the film, but it's not like it distracted from the film, not like it detracted from the film. I thought it still was executed very well in many different areas. But there's that whole thing of having that big space station on the poster that you've seen, which is the Star Killer base in the film, which is, again, another sort of Death Star type of allegory that this film employs that I didn't feel was quite as well set up and really kind of had the most amount of weight to the storyline overall. It really just becomes more of a plot device to kind of have all the elements of the film converge in one place at the end of the film. Similar to Return of the Jedi, but I do think Return of the Jedi did kind of execute that on a much stronger type of level. But the fact of the matter is, all the other elements, the characters, the storyline, and all the other things that are tied in with the characters themselves really do hit it off on a fantastic type of level. I'm just so invested in this film going forward so much. I really did enjoy the film so damn much that just like, I just been on fire with my mind, just building up to this film, watching the trailers again. I got so emotional, just wanting to get it there, and I had to dial it back because I didn't want to get too much hyped up for my own sake. But the fact of the matter is, it's still executed and came out as a fantastic film, in my opinion. It's not a great film. It's like I said, there's a little bit of flaws here and there. Some more I could get into if I really want to dig deeper into things, but just the fact of the matter is, there are a few little flaws here and there. I mean, just certain things that don't destroy the film. They don't wreck the film in any type of way. Just like certain people would have an issue with something, some people might not. So it's just those little type of regular type of movie problems where it's kind of like, some might be a little wonky here or there or whatnot. But it's just a fantastic film that, again, excellent action that feels exactly like a throwback to the original trilogy. The characters are so deep and substantive and just have so many things going on that there is a lot of things for this film to obviously catch up on to get you up to speed 30 years after Return of the Jedi. There's a lot of stuff that's gone on that I think everything is not as thick as it possibly could be if you're that eager about it. It doesn't delve so deeply into things, but there's so much ground to cover with getting you up to speed with the universe, getting you into all the new characters and get you up to speed with people like Han Solo and everything. All these different elements that really have to get caught up on and really kind of just set the stage for everything to move forward. I think that was handled a very even type of level to you can't get as much depth because you got so many characters, you got so many different elements you have to set up and move forward and everything, get to a certain point by the end of the film to have the next film jump off on a much deeper type of level like you had with Empire Strikes Back. But like Empire Strikes Back, even though this film does lay a few seeds that are very intriguing, little things sprinkled in here and there, you still are not feeling dissatisfied with the film, at least in my opinion, that you have these little elements that are not, felt like they're agonizing type of threads that are just kind of left hanging there, like some other franchises I've talked about this year, like the Terminator franchise, where it sets up a whole bunch of different hanging plot threads at the end of the film, but I have no idea if they're ever actually going to go ahead and actually make those other films to make the new film feel like it's worthwhile. This is Star Wars. We are getting a brand new trilogy. Episode 8 is coming out in a year and a half. We're getting these films, and it feels like a very strong, substantive story that it wraps up certain plot lines, but it still moves forward with the characters to show that there's so much more to go forward, so much more to be invested in, and there's so much more of a grand scope to still explore in this galaxy far, far away. It is not a perfect film, like I said, few flaws, but the fact of the matter is, it's a fantastic film that I absolutely loved. I just loved moments in this film like Living Hell. It just feels like Star Wars again, and just I don't even know where to end this thing because I just want to go on forever, but you need to see this film if you haven't, if there's any question in your mind. This is Star Wars. This is original trilogy style Star Wars. There's not bogged down with a lot of trade, federation, taxations, or anything like that. This feels like adventure. This feels like magic. This feels like the Force is back in glorious fashion, guys. I'm so happy. I'm probably going to keep seeing this film over and over again. And like, there's not many films that come out per year that I would just want to see over and over and over again. It's like, I just feel so good with this. I just feel so much, and that's my passion for you guys for now. So Star Wars The Force Awakens. You guys can go back and watch my reviews of the original trilogy. They're all up here. I'm going to make a playlist for all the Star Wars reviews. You can just watch everything in a line. But the fact of the matter is, thumbs up, A score and everything, wherever you want to rank it. I highly endorse. It's one of the best films I've seen this year. And that's after seeing it twice. I think the film got a little bit stronger, a little bit more solidified, shored up in my view, seeing it a second time. So I was a little worried about seeing it a second time and then doing the review. But the fact of the matter is, it still had that for me second time around. So go see it if you haven't already. And if you have, your comments below, please tell me what you enjoyed about this film. And since I have not done spoilers in this video, please refrain from doing so, because I did have someone on Facebook post an extremely spoilery image prior to me seeing the film, and he is now banned from my Facebook account. So please avoid that from anyone. I don't want anyone going into the film having some major point in the film ruined for them, or any of the magic detracted for them, diluted in any type of way. Please refrain from that. Just post your general comments about it, and maybe a later point I will talk a little bit more in depth about it, but no promises on that, because we'll just have to see. Maybe I'll do a sort of 2015 year in review or something like that, who knows. But for now, spoiler free comments, please, guys. Thumbs up on the video if you've enjoyed the gushing passion I have for a film that I've seen twice and within 24 hours and still enjoyed it the second time around. So thanks, guys, for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.